This is an exciting month. This month marks the second time in an entire year that Genshin Impact has lost its title as the #1 most popular gacha game. And to a surprise competitor. No, not Tower of Fantasy. Although I guarantee you Tower of Fantasy fans wish that were the case. We also saw a large number of gacha games shift in terms of position, which is always very healthy for the genre. Hey, my name is Stix and welcome back to your monthly recap on how your favorite gacha games are doing on a month-by-month basis. If you're interested in gacha releasing this month, new gacha to actually try out and play, I have a dedicated video exclusively for that you can find linked below or at the end of this video. Before we do jump in though, I want to take a moment here to thank all of our incredible patrons over on Patreon. Your guys' continued support is beyond appreciated. Also, if you have a moment, consider following me over on Twitch. I stream there every weekend and will hopefully be streaming Wuthering Waves, Honkai Star Rail, and other newly released gacha games coming in the immediate future. Let's start this off with number 1, not Genshin Impact. Yes, for the first time in 7 months, Genshin Impact lost the crown as the #1 highest grossing gacha game, this time to Musume. Musume brought in over 100,000 new downloads and $76 million within Japan, along with 10,000 new downloads and $600,000 within Korea. For comparison, last month Musume had 60,000 new downloads and earned $28 million. Coming in at number 2, which is something this gacha game is absolutely not accustomed to, is Genshin Impact, bringing in a grand total of 2 million new downloads across Android and iOS and $47 million in revenue globally. China brought in 500,000 new downloads and $28 million in revenue. For comparison, last month saw 3 million downloads and $68 million globally, and 800,000 downloads and $61 million in revenue within China. NIKKE still managed to hold the number 3 spot, managing to lure in 500,000 new downloads and $28 million in revenue. Given how many haters said the game would be dead within the first few months of its release, NIKKE seems to be holding up incredibly well. For comparison, last month saw 600,000 new downloads and $28 million in revenue. Fate Grand Order secured the number 4 spot, maintaining a top 5 position every month since I started doing this approximately 7 months ago. Grand Order managed 210,000 new downloads and $23 million globally. While still absolutely fantastic numbers, these were down considerably from last month's 120,000 new downloads and $50 million. Heaven Burns Red rounds out the top 5, coming in at number 5 itself. As a Japanese exclusive still, the game managed to secure 400,000 new downloads and $19 million. For comparison, last month saw 800,000 new downloads and $25 million, still quite the incredible numbers. Raid Shadow Legends comes in at number 6 with a whopping 800,000 new downloads and $19 million earned. How they managed to continue to do as well as they do baffles me. For comparison, last month Raid brought in 600,000 new downloads and $15 million. Project Sakai comes in at number 7 with a total of 300,000 new downloads and $16 million. Most of this came from Japan, honestly. For comparison, last month Project Sakai saw 340,000 new downloads and $11 million. Number 8 sees Blue Archive retaining its top 10 spot month after month, with Blue Archive managing to bring in 120,000 new downloads and $15 million. Sensei's working these schoolgirls real hard. For comparison, last month saw Blue Archive almost break into the top 3 gacha games worldwide, bringing in 320,000 new downloads and $24 million. Absolutely crazy. Summoner's War comes in at number 9, managing 280,000 new downloads and $14 million. This is separate from Summoner's War Chronicles, which also managed to make it into this list a little further down. For comparison, last month Summoner's War brought in 70,000 new downloads and $8 million in revenue. Evidently, this month was a substantial improvement. For the first time ever, Granblue Fantasy managed to obtain a top 15 position, coming in at number 10. Granblue Fantasy typically averages $1 to $3 million in revenue, so this was bizarre to see, this month bringing in over 100,000 new downloads and $12 million. For comparison, last month it only managed 30,000 new downloads and $2 million. Number 11 sees an unlikely competitor cling to its top 15 position, Diablo Immortal. How people still play and spend money on this game continues to amaze me, with Immortal bringing in over 1 million new downloads and $11 million in total revenue between global and China. For comparison, last month saw 1 million new downloads and $10 million earned. Summoner's War Chronicles is a brand new gacha release coming in at number 12 and sees some pretty incredible numbers accompanying it, with 2.7 million new downloads and $8 million earned. No comparison can be made here since this game was released so recently. Memento Mori somehow manages to hold a top 15 position given it's an idle RPG, this month coming in at number 13 and bringing in 80,000 new downloads along with $8 million. For comparison, last month it managed 80,000 new downloads and $9 million, so it is managing to maintain its stats pretty effortlessly. At number 14, we have the 7 Deadly Sins Grand Cross, bumping back up into the top 15, managing 30,000 new downloads and $5.4 million. For comparison, last month it wasn't even in the top 15, but managed 20,000 new downloads and $4.4 million. And finally, at number 15, we have Epic 7 with 140,000 new downloads and $4 million in revenue. It's honestly surprising how well this game continues to do given its age and style comparatively to many other gacha. For comparison, last month saw 120,000 new downloads and $4 million in total revenue. This was quite the interesting month. We saw Genshin Impact dethroned as the #1 gacha game worldwide, which has only happened a grand total of 2 times over the course of the last 12 months, and by none other than the Horsewife Simulator. We saw Tower of Fantasy's 3rd month in a row making a mere $2 million, continuing its steep decline month after month despite its community believing otherwise. Eversoul and Eminence in Shadow fell out of the top 15, Path to Nowhere didn't even make the top 30, Memento Mori somehow did, but most importantly, Honkai Star Rail, along with a few other new gacha games, are right around the corner, so I'm excited to see what happens in their respective first months, and seeing if Hoyo struck gold with Genshin, but failed with subsequent releases. And that's pretty much it. Now, if none of these games look like games you'd be interested in, then I got you covered with 2 videos on screen right now that you should check out. One featuring an incredible looking new gacha releasing this year, and the other, a list of every gacha confirmed to be launching this month.